Hello, it's Alden. Here are some glitchy title cards I made for the end credits of my sci-fi film, The Robosexual. I used an asset pack to make them, but I also wanted to make a video that shows not just how to use a specific pack, but how to reverse engineer pre-made packs so you can build something from scratch. There are chapter markers if you want to skip to that section. So let's get started. First, here's the pack that I'm using. This comes from AEJuice. There's a link in the description below. They have a sale on their buy everything packs, and there's all sorts of glitchy compositing things in here. There's whiteboard stuff, there's podcast audio visualizer stuff, things for your Instagram stories and film noise and all sorts of some retro stuff. A lot in here. I'm using the cyberpunk HUD pack. There's a bunch of stuff in here, but I'm going into the text. They kind of have these pre-made things here. They have these pre-made backgrounds, some individual letters, and then some pre-made animations. And I'm going to use this one and just show you how to use it if you were to download AEJuice, and how to reverse engineer. So a lot of the if you download things from Motion Array or something like that, it's all going to be pretty similar in how they're set up. But here in AEJuice, there's this sort of asset browser that you have right inside After Effects. So double click and it's going to drop it into your project. And it's going to make this file, this AEJuice folder over here. It has one called Do Not Edit. If you download, multiple things from multiple packs, there's going to be a new, this one is Cyberpunk HUD because that's where this is coming from. Other ones will show up in here, and within there you have the specific animation, and there you have the comp, and then the do not edit for this specific kind of comp. So it kind of comes nicely done in this folder structure. If I had a composition already open, this would pop up in the comp that I had open, but it just made one here for me. So since I have this, I'm going to just move the asset pack manager over there so we can focus just on this one. So let's dive into it. If we go into this composition, also I have this down to 1/4, the resolution, by the way, just because I found that a lot of these packs don't play back super smoothly at full resolution, and just for the sake, while I'm also screen recording and everything, I just have it down at a low res. Anyway, so let's go in here, animation 4, and this is the same composition that's going to be up in this folder here. And what you'll notice in all of these AEJuice pre-made packs is when you go in, there's either a null or an adjustment layer or a solid layer called controls. And this control will have everything that we need to adjust the animation. And then you have a composition here, text 4, and if you double click that, that's where you're going to get your main kind of text layer. So let's change what this says. Let's call this After Effects tutorial, and let's change the font to, sure, let's call it this. And then we can adjust everything to our liking. Maybe we want to do After Effects tutorial. Now this has a another character here. I'm not sure what it means, so let's change it to something else. How about just like a little emoji or something like that? Because these are all text layers, if you hit U to pull up the keyframes, this is where the kind of initial sort of animation comes from. We'll go over on, diving into that stuff later, but this is the main animation there. So there you go. If that's something that, that's how you change the text, that's pretty simple. If we want to update our colors, we can do that here too. So let's say we want yellow and green. We can do that. We also have some More controls here as well. Maybe this one's a little orangier. And there we go. We can adjust our colors that way. There's some other little checkboxes here for things we can turn on and off. So that symbol was the extra little character there. There's some additional controls as well. And so everything that you really need to control is here. So if we're back in this composition, there we have it. It's really simple. I think for things like end credits, just to add like a little extra element of something fancy versus just, you know, static text on screen, this is great because I think the time to generate all of this from scratch, to me, just wasn't really worth it for just for the end credits. Now let's, you know, if you have this downloaded, if you get the AEJuice plugins, if you have any other packs, really diving into how these things are built and how they work can teach you a lot. So let's go into this text animation, and we're going to dive into all the things it tells you not to touch, which it tells you not to touch because you might break something and that could cause like some After Effects expressions errors. But if you know what you're doing, it's fine to look under the hood. So first, in this composition, we have the Shy Guy activated. So if you turn that off, it's going to pull up all of your other layers where that's controlling the effect. So if you notice that text 4 that we double clicked, it's off. So it wasn't really doing anything. This text pre-comp is what's doing this animation, and it has its own effects on it. So we have a displacement map, and it is pulling from the distortion map 01, which is here. And inside here, this is that distortion map. There are controls within this. If we wanted to colorize it and then adjust the color. And inside here, if we go into what's controlling that, it is some fractal noise effects, animating the evolution and the stretch and scaling of it. So that's a pretty simple thing that you can dissect how to do. These red values mean that it's controlled by an expression. So if you hit EE, you can see that the evolution is just a time expression times 2000, and that's what makes it move pretty quick. So that's what's causing the distortion. Here there's also a glow effect on top of it, a color balance, which this hue is being controlled probably from this. If we wanted to, change the hue here, let's say 51. If we go back here, that's going to be set to 51. Inside this text pre-comp, we have a version of text, and we have another glow and a displacement map that uses this same displacement map as before. So we kind of have some displacement doubling up. And then now really, the bulk of this animation, there is some displacement going on, but it's a lot of these range selectors on the text layers. And range selectors allow you to change position, opacity, even values of words or letters or lines in a text layer. And what's really nice about it is you can animate them, and whatever text you have in there, it'll update. So if you hit U, you can pull up the keyframes and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 range selectors. And the other thing about these range selectors is if you have the same text effect multiple times in a row, you can go in here and just slide these keyframes over and it'll give it just enough of a different look. But let's also look under the hood of something else. So let's just make a new composition. 250 frames, let's say. And let's find another pack here. Let's do, so this is the kinetic typography one. A bunch of really cool stuff here that you can use. Let's do glitch in the matrix. We'll go inside. It has text 1. This is probably going to be our glitch text. If we hit U, we can see that scale is animating here. And then if we go into text 2, hit U, this is a range selector for opacity and for position. And then our control here has some other elements as well. Shy layer, we can see that there are a bunch of instances of the text layers. I always find this really like cool to see, you know, with these packs, like how they're using different effects, because with After Effects, there's 10 ways to do everything. And so different things like echo, which I don't really use that often, it is cool to see some plugins like that used, and see how they're using in this in these pre-made packs, because then when I need them down the line, I have that sort of in the back of my head that that's an option. Now let's do a new composition. This is the creative titles one. I'm gonna do this one. Double click and it'll all load and download. Switch it to quarter resolution just cause. And my hypothesis here is that, so there's a bunch of different text layers going on, of course, but then I unhide a bunch of stuff here. This grid, for example, like let's go in here and see where that comes from. 2 sets of Venetian blinds to make the little grid. You know, I actually have never done that before. Do them at a 90-degree angle from each other to create something like that. So there's a little thing that I learned. And that's the fun of poking around. There's a particles layer in there. So that's just a video texture. Let's see this abstract glass. Is that a video texture? Yes, it is. So that's like a pre-rendered, you know, 3D model thing. But what's nice when you download these packs is that all of the, it has all these video textures and stuff too. So like if you wanted to, you can reuse this for another effect. Here we have just a text layer animating the position, and it's set to an alpha matte of a solid. So this is a technique that I use most of the time when I'm animating something like this. Sometimes you can use the range selectors for something similar, but what the range selectors won't really do is mask out where you want it. So when it moves below this solid here, how it disappears, that's because you need that alpha matte. So yeah, that's just a simple way to do some text in After Effects using AEJuice. There's a link in the description below. It's an affiliate link, so I get a commission. So it would be really cool if you use that link to buy it if you're interested. I have really enjoyed all of the plugins and packs that I have been playing with so far. I have another video with just some like overall kind of compositing packs that I really like, but there's so many uses for all of these types of things, and I think it's certainly worth the value, especially while they're having a sale on everything.